Hola amigos, welcome back. All right, for those who are new to me, my name is Adiola and I share my experiences as a single woman living here in Merida, Yucatan, Mexico. Today's video will be about property taxes, specifically about how much I pay for my property tax. So before I actually share how much I pay, I just wanted to briefly go over property taxes here in Mexico. So a few people asked me how much I pay for my property tax, and I said I would do a video on it, and here is the video. So to just get some idea on property taxes here in Mexico, I did some research online to see what an average is when it comes to property taxes, and it says it's anywhere between 100 to 500 US dollars. So that's about 2,000 pesos thereabout to 10,000 pesos, Mexican pesos. Now, my property tax is way less than 2,000 pesos. And of course, it is very far from 10,000 pesos. I pay significantly less than 2,000 pesos, less than 4 digits. Now, here in Mexico, your property taxes will be based on something called your valor catastral. So I made a video on how much I paid from my house, and I shared the closing cost, and I shared that when determining like pretty much the value of your house, I shared that usually, the notarial will look at 3 different values. They will look at the valor catastral, they will look at the valor physical, and then they will look at another value, which I don't remember. But yeah, they look at 3 values. So the physical value, the catastral value, and then the market value. Yeah, the market value, meaning how much other people are selling the properties in your neighborhood. Valor catastral, it is actually determined by your municipal government. So it's determined by your city, meaning that it'll be different with each city. But it's pretty much standard for the whole country. Now here on my receipt here, so it'll say here the size of your land. So your valor catastral is based on the size of your lot. Is it a small lot? Is it a big lot? It is based on the construction. So if you have construction on that lot, what is the size of the construction? Is it 1 story? Is it 2 stories? Is it 3 stories? Is it 200 square meters, 500 square meters, 2,000 square meters? It's based on that. It's also based on the use of the land. Is it residential or is it commercial use? It is based on the location of your property. So are you in a low-income neighborhood? Are you in a middle-class neighborhood? Are you in a high-income neighborhood? It is also based on the state of your house. So if you have a property or a house that's falling apart versus a house next door to it that was recently built, that house, even though it's in the same neighborhood, it's on the same street, like right next door to each other, it has the same size lot, but the fact that that property obviously looks much better, right? It's been rebuilt, it looks nicer. The value of that property, the cadastral value, will be higher than the shack next door. Okay, so it is based on a few things, and they have like a calculation that they use to calculate, okay, this is the size of a lot times this value times that value. But that's nothing to worry about because that's not in your control. It's determined by the city. Now, the valor catastral, it's usually the same every single year. That's what you pay. And by the way, yeah, you pay your property taxes every single year. So you pay it once in a year, right? You pay once in a year. And here in Merida, right, so in different parts of the country, in your city, the city, to encourage people to pay the property taxes on time, they will offer an incentive. In Merida, if you pay in the month of January, you get 30% off. So let's say, for example, your property taxes, it's about 10,000 pesos. You get 30% off, so you get 3,000 pesos off meaning you only pay like 7,000 pesos. In February, you get 20% off, and then in March, you get 10% off. And from April to December, you just pay the regular fee. So if you want to save some pesos in your pocket, then it's always recommended to pay it in January. So that's when I usually pay mine in January, so that I can get, as much discount as I can. Where can you pay your property taxes? There are two ways. One, you can pay it online. So that's the Merida website for Merida. You just pay with your credit card. So you put in your folio, your numero de cuenta. So that's your account number, and then it'll generate your property. If you have multiple properties, or if you have someone, so they actually have people who do this for people. So like they might be responsible for like 50 different properties that they pay, right? So they just go online, and then they enter the account number, and then they just pay for each client. Or the second option is you just go to downtown to pay it. And that's what I always do every year. So I will go to their office. They have two offices in Central. They're like next to each other. One is at the Municipal Palace, and the other one is like pretty much on Calle 62, and is it 61? Like pretty much a few blocks. A few steps down. That's usually where I go, and I pay in person, and then they give me my receipt in person. So you need the receipt because sometimes, like to do some transaction with API or CFE or what have you, they will ask you for your receipt. And this year I paid mine in January, and because I had to move from my apartment to my current house, I had stuff all over the place, so I couldn't find the receipt for that I paid my property taxes. And HAPAI, I was having some issues with HAPAI. They were requesting for it, so I now had to go to the city to get a printout of this receipt, and they charged me almost the same amount that I paid they charged me pretty much what the amount of discount that I got. So I got 30% discount. A few months later, when I needed my receipt, I couldn't find it, so I had to go to their office, and then they printed it out for me. So it'll say copy, like it's not an official copy, it's a printed copy. And they charged me, to print that out. And then, you know what happened afterwards? Like a week later, I found the receipt. Even though I spent several weeks looking for it, I couldn't find it. But eventually I found it, like right after paying to get it reprinted. So that's pretty much it. So how the property taxes, it's calculated based on the valor catastral. Valor catastral is determined by the city. It is not calculated based on the market value. So the market value of your property could be 2 million pesos, but the valor catastral could say 1 million pesos. And then they're gonna make the calculation based on that, right? So it's only based on that. Now, can your property taxes, can it go up suddenly, unexpectedly? The answer is yes. And I've read some comments online where somebody's predial, like the property tax, just went up ridiculously. And what they did was they went to their city, because I don't think they live in Merida. They went to their city and they spoke to the guy like, hey, what happened? Like, nothing happened to my house. I didn't make any changes, but I noticed that when I went to go pay, they were charging me like 3-4 times what I usually pay. And so the guy was, okay, you think your property taxes should be less. Prove it. Tell us why. And also they asked him, okay, so how much do you think your property tax should be? And he gave them a random number. And the guy was like, okay, sure. And then he went into his computer, I guess, to change the number. Now, sometimes, it depends on who you deal with. Sometimes they might ask you to bring in all sorts of paperwork, and it might be complicated. So, it's not always that easy. But I heard you can actually go to the office and challenge them so that they can bring that value down. Also, your property taxes can actually go up if, let's say, you did some modification to your house. So for example, like you bought a property that was pretty much, you had to demolish, and then you built like apartment units or something on it. And then when you go to the city to make changes, like to update the value of your property, of course, the value cadastral will go up. And when that goes up, then your property tax will also go up as well. But in most cases, if you didn't make any changes with the city, and you just continued your life as is, then in most cases your property tax, it'll stay the same. And I've already explained where to go make payment and how to make payment and such. Now the question is, what happens if you don't pay your property taxes on time? Can your property go into foreclosure? Can the city put a lien on your property? Can they auction it off? I tried to do some research online, but I didn't actually come across any article that says that the city can actually sell it, which I know that, to my knowledge, I've never heard of cases whereby the city sold somebody's property, because here in Merida we have so many properties that are abandoned, at least they look abandoned, but they probably have owners, or sometimes the owner passed away, but the kids didn't even know that their father owns or owned many properties on this particular property. So, and of course those properties just sit there, right? So in cases like that, those properties, like, they'll just be accumulating property taxes every year, accumulating. So for anybody in the real estate profession here in Merida, let me know if the city can actually sell your property, if they can foreclose it, or if they can put a lien on it. But I didn't come across anything regarding that, and I've never heard of such cases. Now the bank can foreclose your property because you weren't paying them, the mortgage. That definitely happens. But the city selling your property, I don't know. That's not something that I've heard of. So they won't sell your property, but what's gonna happen is that when it's time to sell the house, or you wanna pass it on to somebody, what the notary, what they're gonna ask from you will be all of the bills on the house. They're gonna ask you for the CFA bill, the HAPI bill, so that's your water company. They're gonna ask you for the receipt, the recent receipt of showing that you've paid your property taxes, right? They're gonna ask for everything, right? So everything has to be paid off: electricity, water, and your property tax, right? So if you show your notarial, like, hey, I want to sell my property, or I want to pass down this property to my son or to my grandchild or whatever, they're gonna ask you, okay, go bring your receipt that you've paid your property taxes, and you bring them a receipt from 10 years ago. You're not gonna be able to sell that property. Like, you're not gonna be able to sell the property. It's not gonna be approved, right? So they're gonna tell you, okay, you have to go and pay your property taxes in the last 10 years and now come back and you can now complete the transaction. And what's gonna happen when you go to the city to pay your property taxes is that they're gonna be like, oh, okay, you've been owing us in the past 10 years. Here's how much you owe times 10 years. And we're also gonna add late fees, right? So they actually charge late fees every single month. So that will be 120 months, right, of late fees. So they charge you, I think, 3% or something like that, every single month that you don't pay your property taxes. So for example, this year, 2025, I still have, even though I've already paid for this year, but I still have till December 31st to pay my property taxes. But let's say I don't pay it for this year, I can still pay it in January, but I'll just pay, the full amount plus 3%, right? So they will just charge you a particular percentage. It depends on your city though. A particular percentage every month that you are late, right? So you only pay your property taxes every year, once a year, right? But if you're late by, let's say, a month, they charge you for that month. 2 months, they charge you for that 2 months. If you're late by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, then they charge you, your late fees. So on average, the property taxes in Mexico, it's about 0.05%, so about 0.1%. And I calculated mine is about maybe 0.6%, right? So it is a very small amount. So which makes property ownership here in Mexico to be quite affordable. My property tax is actually way cheaper than my fideicomiso fees that I pay for every year. I pay about 520, no, about 560. I'm gonna go check, but I shared that exact amount in my previous videos where I shared the numbers on, what I paid to close the property. So I paid about, let's say, 550 US dollars thereabout for the fideicomiso fees. But my property taxes, okay, so now I believe I've explained what you need to know about property taxes. The average 0.05 to about 0.1%. The discounts that you get for paying early. So in Merida, you get 30% off in January, 20% in February, 10% in March. And then you can pay online or you can go to their office to pay. So if you're not in Merida, then you pay, let's say for example, you were away between January and February, but you actually want to take advantage of the discount, then you can just go on the Merida website. I'm going to put the link in the description box below, the Merida website for Merida, and then you just go and you just make your payment online. Sometimes the website can glitch, especially in January where everybody is trying to make their payments in January so that they can get the discount. And I've already shared the fact that the city will not sell your property for not paying your property taxes. The only issue is that you're not going to be able to sell the house or to hand it over or to pass it on to somebody. You will need to eventually pay your property tax. And I've shared that. So now, let me now share how much I pay for my property taxes. So I've already shared the value catastrophe for my house in that video that I did on how much I paid for my house. I'm also going to link that as well below in the description box. Okay, so now the amounts that I pay for my property tax here in Merida is it is 175 pesos. So that's about $8 or $9. Let's just say $10, yeah. Because right now the US dollars to peso is about 18 or something. So let's just say $10 per year. And so like I said, I paid on time. I paid in January. I paid on January 24th, and I got 30% off, meaning that I got 53 pesos. So that buys a Corona. It buys a bottle of beer or something like that. A bag of chips. So yeah, I got 53 pesos off, meaning that I only had to pay 122 pesos. So I only paid like $7, thereabouts. Yeah, I paid 122 pesos. Yes, $7. Now my fideicomisos was over $500. Okay, $7 for property tax, and then the bank trust $520. I mean, because it was $475 plus 16% taxes. Yeah, that's it, right? So property taxes here in Mexico, they are quite affordable, and I'm very happy and very glad about that. And yeah, so and it all varies. It varies. It depends on the value of your property. It depends on what the city says your property is valued at. It depends on the neighborhood. It depends on the size of your lots. It depends on the quality of your construction, and also is it residential or is it commercial. So it all varies. Mine is just this low because that's just the current value that the city has on this property. Eventually, when I go to make some updates, once I'm done with the house, because I'm still working on it, and I go make the updates with the city, my property taxes will jump. It's going to jump. It'll be very ridiculous. So yeah, but for now, that's pretty much it. So let me know in the comment section below if you have any questions about property ownership here in Merida, to be specific, because I mean that's where I live and that's where I have experience in. And also if you own a property or two in Merida or even in Mexico, you can share how much I guess you pay for your property tax where you live. And also anything else that you also want to add, you can also add them also in the comment section below. All right, and if you haven't subscribed yet, remember to subscribe. Yeah, remember to please subscribe to the channel so that you can be updated whenever I put out new content on the channel. All right, thank you so much for watching this far, and I'll see you in the next video. Ciao.